court case that's been going on with Craig Wright, and I've been talking to Kurt Jr. about sort of Bitcoin, BSV, and Bitcoin Cash, and I was curious as to whether you think that BTC is Bitcoin, because they sort of debate that it's actually Bitcoin. And does it even matter? Is it not just the one that's the most successful ultimately? Like, are you a real purist in thinking that it has to be like Bitcoin as such?
Well, I'm involved in my own lawsuit with Craig Wright at the moment in the High Court of the UK. So there's some limitations on what I can and can't say, because that's a libel lawsuit, because I challenged his claims that he is Satoshi. I have to be careful what I do and don't say. Kurt Jr. is not somebody I would hold with any high credibility as somebody to discuss and debate this with. Really, the debate on what is Bitcoin is it's already been answered. Bitcoin BTC is Bitcoin. Everything else, which is a fork, is a copy of Bitcoin, an attempt to change some of the parameters because they believe by changing those parameters, they create a better cryptocurrency, a better form of Bitcoin. Every single one, every single instance, whether it's BSV, BCH, Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Gold, all these forks and these attempts to create other versions of Bitcoin have all failed. And the way you can measure the failure is let the market decide. How does the market price these assets? Because you have to consider these assets are primarily a store of value, but ultimately also a medium of exchange. But if you consider them based on what the market values are them, if you look at BCH and BSV compared priced in Bitcoin, they've both lost probably over 90% of their value from their highs. So the market has priced that these cryptocurrencies are not worth holding the Bitcoin. These debates are almost a waste of time now. They're very small communities of people who have believed in a certain ideology regarding their cryptocurrency, and that's something they need to get behind. Most of them is based on the design of how a cryptocurrency should scale, such as Bitcoin. There's a big issue that has plagued Bitcoin over the years, the discussion on how do you scale Bitcoin. Now, the ultimate goal of Bitcoin is to be decentralized. It is to subvert the state, to have a form of money that cannot be controlled by a small group of people, because this is one of the problems Bitcoin is solving, is the problems of fiat currencies and how governments can, at their whim, print money and centrally plan the economy. So Bitcoin is this idea that it's this decentralized form of money that nobody has control over. To be decentralized, it has to have as many people running nodes as possible. To have people running nodes, the blocks in the blockchain, they have to be as small a size as possible. So the big debate that happened back in 2017, which is known as the fork wars, was this idea that, should you scale on-chain or off-chain? And what that means is, should you scale the number of transactions that Bitcoin can handle, but in the size of the blocks in the base chain, or should you scale it in levels above it? So if at the moment the Bitcoin blockchain is essentially 1 megabyte, due to some changes that are made with SegWit a few years ago, something known as a block weight means actually it can carry a higher density of transactions. But at the same time, if people continue to use Bitcoin, the base chain does have a limit to the number of transactions it can hold. So one option is to increase the size of the block. So you can go from 1 megabyte, say, to 2 megabytes, to 4 megabytes. The problem with that is there's the total size of the blockchain. If you run a node on your computer, it means you have an entire copy of the blockchain, so you can verify every transaction. In doing that, if you increase the size of the blockchain, you change the ability for you change who can and cannot run a node. So the total blockchain, just say for the sake of this conversation, is 500 gigabytes. I can download it on my laptop here and run a node. I can also go and buy a Raspberry Pi and a hard disk, a terabyte hard disk, and I can run that. Now, if you look at something like Ethereum, which is something that doesn't care about the size of its blockchain, which is at the moment multiple terabytes, it's very difficult for an individual to run a node. So the idea of decentralization is keeping the blockchain as small as possible. The smaller the blockchain, the easier it is for people to run nodes. Things like BSV and BCH wanted to scale and have scaled on-chain. Something like Bitcoin has made the decision to scale in higher layers. So we have something called the Lightning Network, which allows you to process infinitely more transactions than the base chain on a higher level, yet yet protect the integrity of the blockchain. So to me, that debate's it's almost a pointless debate now. I wouldn't even bother wasting time talking to someone like Kurt. He's been proven to be repeatedly wrong in his ideas regarding what Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin should be. The market has completely priced Bitcoin SV as something that was close to worthless. A top 10 cryptocurrency in CoinMarketCap to something like 67 now, and it continues to fall. So ultimately, it's a dead project. What should we call it? A dead project processing blocks rather than a dead man walking.
Okay. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment for us in the comments below. Let me know what you thought and if you'd like to see more of this from the show. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time.